Tonight on Philly Sports Spotlight, what happens when the coach on the other sideline is not your brother from another mother, but your brother from the same mother? And after a prolific yet sometimes tumultuous career in the NFL, South Jersey's own Irving Fryar is finally coming to peace with his past. And we'll introduce you to the guy from South Philly who's mortgaging his future into the beer business. Hello there and welcome to Philly Sports Spotlight. I'm Phil Andrews in Super Bowl 47, just days away as the Ravens and Niners get set to do battle. Now, Baltimore 1-0 in the big game, San Francisco 5-0. So, someone's O has got to go. Now, the two big storylines this week, 17-year veteran Ray Lewis playing in his final game. Next up, of course, for Ray, Canton, Ohio. The other story, Jim and John Harbaugh, the first brother duo to face each other in a Super Bowl.
This team that we're going to play is a great football team. They're extremely well coached, I'd have to say. They look somewhat familiar in a lot of ways. I think Jim's just done a great job with the team. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of what he's accomplished as a coach, but more so as a man, you know, as a family man, as a father, as a husband, as a brother and son stuff. But you know, their football team reflects his personality. They're tough, they're hard-nosed, they're physical, they play field position football. They've added the element of big plays. I think this year they're a big-time, big play threat. So all those things, we're just going to have to get prepared for a really great football team, and we'll go to work on that this week.
It's a blessing and a curse. You know, a blessing because, you know, that is my brother's team, and also, personally, I played for the Ravens. Great respect for their organization and have a great respect for them and their team, and I'm happy for them, happy for us that we've made it to this point.
And speaking of coaches, the Ravens have hired former Eagles assistant Juan Castillo as a consultant. He'll actually stay with the team through next season and be their run game coordinator. Castillo, of course, fired by former Eagles head coach Andy Reid as defensive coordinator this past season after spending the previous 16 years as the Eagles offensive line coach. And, of course, let us not forget the kid from Audubon, New Jersey, Joe Flacco, playing in his first ever Super Bowl after finally getting over the AFC title game hump last week with that awesome victory over Tom Brady and the Patriots.
But I just, you know, when you, as a team, when you sat there and not one guy doubted was probably the most important thing that we learned from as a team. In that last drive, not one guy doubted what Joe was going to be able to go and do. And for Joe to march the ball down the field with all of the hoopla about Joe Flacco all week, Joe played his tail off. Our offense played their tail off. Our team played their tail off. You know, if you listen to all of the, I won't say y'all, but if you listen to everybody, we wasn't even supposed to be in this game. You know, we couldn't stop Brady and we couldn't do a lot of things, you know, but it's the mutual respect of when you line up and you put your pants on one leg at a time.
I think people look at us as a lot of individuals, and the reality of it is there's not a closer-knit locker room in the NFL. I'm not in those other locker rooms, so I know how tight this one is, and it's just an awesome group of guys, and really special and, you know, really awesome to be able to be going through this with these guys.
Now, of course, Flacco not the first South Jersey native to play in the Super Bowl. There have been others, including former Rancocas High School standout Irving Fryar, who played in Super Bowl 20. Now, recently had a chance to sit down with the former NFL standout at his home, where we actually talked about a number of topics. Everyone knows that the ultimate goal in a National Football League has and always will be to hoist the Vince Lombardi Trophy and eventually slide on that jewel-encrusted ring, signifying that you are indeed a world champion. Now, some players go an entire career without even getting a chance to play in the big game. And then there are those who get there but still leave empty-handed. Former Pro Bowl wide receiver Irving Fryar spent 17 prolific years in the league, playing with the likes of the Redskins, Eagles, Dolphins, and Patriots. But it was with the Pats that Fryar experienced his one and only Super Bowl, unfortunately on the losing end of a 46-10 decision to the Chicago Bears.
I think the thing that messed us up at the Super Bowl was that, not that we overrated it, but we didn't treat it like it was another game. You know, we did some things that we normally don't do, and it gave us extra time to sit and think about how important the game was. And I think before we knew it, it was halftime and we were behind, and it was too far behind to catch up. I think we just put so much into it that we just went into the game just kind of starstruck and thinking about how important it was, and really not just focusing on what it took for us to get there and to do those things to give ourselves a chance to win.
And so, as fellow South Jersey native Joe Flacco gets set to lead the Baltimore Ravens into his first Super Bowl, Fryer offers these words of advice to the former Audubon High School and University of Delaware standout.
Flacco's phenomenal. I mean, he just continues to play and to produce and to win, and no one ever mentions his name in the top 5 quarterbacks in the league right now. Some will call him elite. I don't know if he's one in that elite category, but he is one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league right now, and he's continued to prove that over the past few years. But I would say to him, just relax. Just go out and play just like you've done to get yourself there, and treat it like it's another game, and do the things that you've done throughout the year that got you there, and you give yourself the best chance to win.
Oh, and Irv, what about this being the first Super Bowl game where the opposing coaches are also brothers?
The Harbaugh family has got to be just totally elated. We knew Jim from when he was here, and we got a chance. He was a special teams coach when he was here in Philadelphia. But now that is just phenomenal for 2 sons to be coaching opposite teams in the Super Bowl. And it's just, we're making history. They're making history. They just have to be proud of themselves. And their father can say, well, my son's going to win the Super Bowl.
So with that in mind, which Harbaugh gets Irving's nod to hoist the trophy at the end of the game?
Well, I think John's going to beat Jim. Just my opinion. I think San Francisco is going to win this time. That's just my opinion. I don't know anything about football. I only played 17 years, but I just like San Francisco. I actually, and without their current quarterback, I actually picked them prior Kaepernick. Yeah, I picked them prior to the season. They were one of my picks to go to the Super Bowl.
And finally, on a serious note, over a 17-year career, the body can take an awful lot of pounding, especially from the shoulders up. In light of the concussion lawsuit recently filed by former players against the NFL and the post-traumatic evidence of depression, memory loss, and anger caused by repetitive concussions, does Fryer ever fear for his future mental state?
I have 12 documented concussions.
Okay, that's 3 more than the NCAA allows.
I don't remember the rest.
Do you ever fear that one day that this is going to come back?
Well, no, I don't fear that, because I believe in God, and I believe in God's healing power. So if there were anything that was damaged inside of my brain or in my head, I believe God can heal it if he hasn't already healed it.
Now, we'll have more of my interview with Irv coming up in the next block as we take a look at how Irv is now giving back to his community. And as we head to break, time for this week's trivia question. This one's Super Bowl related. The question is, what team has made the most appearances in Super Bowl history? The answer coming up later on in the show. Also still to come, we catch up with Eagles wide receiver Jason Avant at a Fellowship of Christian Athletes Affairs. Stay tuned.